I come from the northeastern part of Nigeria, in a region known as Borno State, the home of peace. The home of peace that have experienced years of conflicts, displacements, and violence, and still we stand strong. I always find peace in knowing that I am from that place because of how strong and resilient my people are. Whenever I tell people I am from Borno, people don't see me. They see Boko Haram. Yeah. I have been called and labeled as Boko Haram because of saying that I am from there. Do you know what Boko Haram means? Boko Haram translates to Western education is forbidden. Well, from my introduction, you learn and understand that I am a graduate of political science and currently pursuing my master's in global security and intelligence studies. I am not the violence that happened around me. I am just a victim. The very first time I heard gunshots, that didn't stop. I was just 12. The sound did not come from the movie or from the news. It came from my street. That night, the Boko Haram insurgents came to my town and nothing was ever the same again. I didn't know it then, that my life and everything I'll come to believe in, work for, and fight for began in that moment of fear. I mean, that was the moment I stopped being a child and started becoming something else. A victim, a witness, and eventually a humanitarian. What was the first thing you did immediately you entered this building? I'm sure some of you were trying to get the best seats for the best view, while others were trying to network, and others were trying to get the best pictures for their social media. Well, it's always different for me. The moment I enter a building, any kind of building, my mind immediately starts scanning for a hiding spot or an exit door, just in case, God forbid, but just in case if something happens. I don't do that on purpose. My body does that. Why? Because I was raised in a place where fear wasn't a feeling, but a way of life. When I sleep, I don't dream. And when I do, I always have a nightmare of myself in Maiduguri running, because that is what we did the most. We ran from bullets, from bombs, from dangers that we didn't even understand, but we always felt. And after all these years, after conflicts, displacements, violence, dangers, hunger, poverty, we ran again last year. This time, not from violence, or from flood, a water, a different kind of terror, but still terror. You know, it made me realize something. In a place like Borno, we don't always get the luxury to stop and heal, because when you survive one thing, another comes. That is what it means to actually grow up in the conflict zone areas. The war doesn't end when the gunshot stops. It lives on in your dreams, in your life, and in everything you do. There were days when we were on total lockdown. It was called a state of emergency, where our means of communication was done through letters, just like the olden days. There was no phone, no radio, no internet, no phones, just silence, prayers, and hope. When you have to pass an information that is very urgent, you have to make a phone call to your loved ones, you have to travel from Borno to go to another city within Nigeria just so you can make a phone call. Our network was disconnected. It was as if we were disconnected from the rest of the world. You know, where I'm from, the conflict didn't just make the news. It made orphans, widows, refugees. The Boko Haram insurgents have destroyed schools, hospitals, facilities, homes, villages. They didn't just aim to kill us. They didn't try to kill us. They tried to kill our hopes, all of our hopes. Well, I remember the first time I visited an IDP camp. I saw women without food, children without shoes, and families without shelter. And I remember thinking, when I have my 2 hands and a voice, why can't I do something about this? And that is how Advocacy for Human Value Foundation began. Not as any big organization, but as a desperate desire to help. I didn't know what NGO meant. I had no experience, but what I have in me was urgency, and sometimes that is enough. At 14, I was hosting dialogues, writing proposals, getting funding for people that need the help the most. I didn't wait to be ready. I just started with what I have and where I was. People told me I was too young. I'm just a girl, just a girl. It's dangerous out there. But I have already survived the danger. What was left for me to fear? And with few volunteers and almost no money, we began small projects. It was nothing to us. But to people we helped, it was everything. And that moment alone made me realize something. That healing doesn't always look like headlines, because healing is quiet, personal, and local. You see, whatever happened in my community can happen anywhere, as conflict is not confined by borders. People ask me about my work, of how I save people. Well, being a humanitarian is not about saving people. I don't save anyone. I stand with people, I learn from the people, and together we rise. You see, right now, there are children in countries that is ravaged by war, by instability, by conflicts, that are dodging bullets instead of enjoying their childhood, just like I did while growing up. Their voices matter too. You don't have to be a humanitarian to make a difference. You just have to be human. So be that voice that speaks out. Be that person that shows up. And be that heart that doesn't look away when there is injustice or conflict, even if it's on social media. I'll leave you with this message, this powerful message, that peace is not a gift from our leaders. Peace is a responsibility that each and every one of us carry. Thank you very much.